Once upon a time, in the lush green forest, there lived a little squirrel named Leo. He was known for his bushy tail, boundless energy, and an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. But most of all, Leo was a dreamer. He loved looking up at the clouds and letting his imagination run wild. One particularly glorious morning, as Leo was scampering up a tree, he noticed a group of birds soaring effortlessly across the sky. They were flying in perfect formation, their wings beating in unison as they glided above the forest canopy. Leo stopped in his tracks, mesmerized by their grace and freedom. "If they can fly," he exclaimed to himself, "why can't I?" In that moment, a surge of excitement coursed through him. He had always longed to experience the world from a different perspective, to feel the wind beneath his paws and to see the forest from above. And so an idea was born. Leo was determined to build wings and fly like the birds. Now, you might be thinking, a squirrel flying, what a preposterous notion. But in Leo's mind, anything was possible. With renewed vigor, he raced down the tree and began gathering materials for his grand project. He collected large, sturdy leaves from the oak trees, carefully selecting those that were still attached to their branches by long, flexible vines. These would serve as the framework for his wings, providing both support and flexibility. Gathering soft moss and feathers that had fallen from the birds' nests, Leo began weaving them into his wings, securing them with sticky sap that he collected from the pine trees. As he worked, other animals passing by could unhelp but chuckle at the sight of a squirrel attempting such a daring feat. Some even warned him of the dangers of his plan. But Leo was undeterred. His determination to succeed was as strong as the sap he used to bind his wings together. Finally, after spending days on his project, Leo's wings were complete. They were large enough to cover his entire body, and he was so proud of his creation. He strapped on his leafy wings and adjusted them carefully, making sure they were secure. Then, with a deep breath and a pounding heart, he started his ascent up the tallest hill near his home. This was it, the moment he had been preparing for. All this time, reaching the summit, Leo paused to admire the view. The forest stretched out before him like a patchwork quilt, and the distant mountains shimmered in the sunlight. Taking a deep breath, Leo closed his eyes and jumped. For a moment, there was nothing but the wind rushing through his leafy wings. But as quickly as it began, it was over. Leo tumbled to the ground with a resounding thud. His wings crumpled and torn. Pain shot through his limbs, and he lay there wondering if he would ever be able to fly. He felt a wave of disappointment wash over him. Had his hard work and dedication amounted to nothing? Was he not meant to fly? Just then, his wise old owl friend Athena, who had been watching from afar, flew down to his side. Seeing Leo in such a state, Athena's heart went out to him. Instead of scolding him for his recklessness, she offered a gentle nudge and a kind word. "Trying new things is a wonderful thing, Leo," she said softly, "but sometimes we need to think things through more carefully. Tell me, did you think your wings would actually allow you to fly?" When Leo looked up at her, his eyes were filled with confusion and a bit of anger. "I thought they would. I worked so hard and I believed I could do it." Athena nodded understandingly. "I know you did, Leo, and your enthusiasm is admirable. But sometimes our eagerness can get the better of us. Flying requires more than just a pair of wings, my friend. It needs careful planning, balance, aerodynamics, and strength." She pointed to the sky where the birds were circling overhead. Those birds have been practicing their flying skills for months, if not years. They've learned how to ride the currents in the air, how to use their wings efficiently, and how to work together to achieve their goal. We can't simply mimic their actions and expect the same results, Leo. We must learn from their example and apply those lessons to our own lives. At first, Leo felt a pang of embarrassment. He realized that he had been foolish to think he could fly without understanding the principles of flight. But as Athena continued to speak, he began to feel a sense of determination mixed with humility. "Don't let this setback discourage you, Leo," Athena said, placing a comforting wing on his shoulder. "Instead, let it be a stepping stone for you. Think about what went wrong and how you can do better next time. Failure is not the opposite of success, my friend. It's a part of it. Every great achievement is preceded by countless failures and setbacks. The key is to learn from those setbacks and keep moving forward." Her words resonated deeply within Leo, and he felt a surge of inspiration. He wasn't the first to dream of flight, and he wouldn't be the last. But that didn't mean he couldn't try. In fact, it meant he had a chance to learn from those who came before him, to improve on their ideas, and perhaps one day achieve what they couldn't. With renewed vigor, Leo began to examine his crumpled wings, searching for clues as to why they failed. He discovered that his vines, though flexible, were too rigid to allow the wings to catch the wind properly. And the leaves, while large, were not aerodynamically shaped for flight. That these weren't failures, Athena pointed out gently. These are lessons. You've gained real experience, Leo, and now you know what to look for in materials for your next pair of wings. Maybe thinner, more flexible branches for the frame and larger, smoother surfaces for the wings themselves. Over the next few days, Leo set about improving his design. He experimented with different types of leaves and vines, testing their flexibility and durability. He observed the birds more closely, studying the shape of their wings and how they used them to maneuver in the air. And he spoke to other knowledgeable animals, gathering tips and advice. Slowly but surely, Leo refined his design, and when he finally built his new wings, they were stronger, lighter, and more aerodynamic. Of course, he was eager to test them, but this time he took Athena's advice to heart. Before taking flight, he climbed another tall tree and launched himself into the air. Sure enough, this time the wind caught his wings and he soared through the air. At first it was bumpy, but as he learned to control his wings, he became more graceful. He wasn't flying as effortlessly as the birds yet, but he was flying. And as he glided above the forest floor, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. He had faced his fears, learned from his mistakes, and improved his design. He had also discovered a new respect for the natural world and the importance of preparation and reflection. By the end of the day, Leo wasn't discouraged. He had learned something valuable that day. Trying something new was scary, yes, but the potential rewards were even greater. Making mistakes was inevitable, but it wasn't a bad thing. In fact, it was the only way to learn and grow. And learning from his mistakes made him wiser and stronger. He wasn't able to fly like the birds, not yet anyway, but he didn't need to. He had learned something much more important. If you fall down 7 times, you may stand up 8 times. That's a proverb that means no matter how many times you fail, as long as you keep trying, you'll eventually succeed. From that day on, Leo continued to pursue his dreams with renewed vigor. He never forgot the valuable lesson he learned from Athena, the wise owl, and he often shared it with the other young animals in the forest. As for Athena, she watched over Leo and the other animals, guiding them with her wisdom and patience, knowing that each stumble was just another step towards greatness. So if you ever find yourself feeling down because of a mistake or failure, remember the story of Leo, the squirrel, who fell down but got back up again. Mistakes aren't failures. They're stepping stones to becoming wiser and stronger. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, stay curious, keep trying, and remember, mistakes aren't failures. They're stepping stones to success.